This video is a quick walkthrough of the Schola Latin language website. When you hit the front page, you'll find this square on the top right is where you sign up. We have a large range of members. Some of our members are just beginning their study of Latin, and they have only a few months of the subject, and so they don't know very much. But to sign up, you don't need to know any Latin, because the basic sign up has got an English sign up instruction along with it. So anybody can sign up to Schola and join the site. If you already are a member, you sign in. And this is the dashboard that the administrators see. I'm going to show you this later on, especially the language file. The home page. On the home page we have a variety of things. We have our activity list. As you can see, the site's reasonably active. New members in the last 24 hours. And we have a link to our locutorium, which is an audiovisual chat room where you can speak and type in Latin. And we have the scriptorium, where you just type in Latin. Salve. If you want to see the activity in the scriptorium that's taken place in the last day or so, you can click up here to see who's been there. Today's been a bit quiet. Yesterday, a little bit busier. And so most days, as you can see, there's activity on the site. The scriptorium has only been recently put back on the site, so a lot of these are empty. You go back in time a bit more. When we had the scriptorium before we took it away, you can see that it was being used much more frequently. And this will happen again as members realize that we've put it back on the website. Let's get back to Schola. Here we are. The tabs across the top are quite useful. The first tab, Invita, you can import your email address list. I doubt you want to do that, but if you want to invite individual people, you click here, you add the email address and it'll message, and you can invite somebody to join Schola. Your own home page is here, Pagina Mea, and you have various things. You have firstly a status update, which you can write a short little bit, and you can post it off to Facebook or Twitter. Or click update, that will appear on the main page of Schola, and you can disseminate it elsewhere. You have your blogs. You can write little blogs, and your blog posts here, you click to add your blog post. It's quite a rich text editor. You can do quite a lot, add pictures, add files, URLs, and you can also share your title of your blog anyway on Facebook and on Twitter. You can change your photograph quite easily, and you can also write different bits and pieces. The photo lexicon is quite useful, and if you scroll to the very last page and all the photographs on Schola and work your way backwards, you'll find the photo lexicon, which is a dictionary where the words have got Latin on them, and this is quite useful if you want to acquire a working vocabulary of Latin to help you actually speak about things, parts of the body and various other things like that, furniture, etc., diseases, all these types of things. Pelliculae is a collection of pelliculae. If you want to, if you find a film in Latin on the internet and you want to add it here, find the embed code from Google or wherever it is, not from YouTube or Hulu or Vimeo, and you can add it here. Wiwa Walker is the audiovisual chat room. You'll log in pretty much Bene merhaba. And you can type to people here if you want to. You can open up the chat room, and you can speak if you wish by clicking on the audio. And if you want to open up your webcam, then you click on the video, and that will open up your webcam, and then people can see you as well. If you forget how to use the locutorium or don't know how to use it, there's a little YouTube video up here which shows us how to go about using it. Sodales are the members of Schola, and this is quite useful. If you find somebody who lives in your area, you can write to them. This goes off list, so it doesn't have to be in Latin, and you'll write your message there. Sodales also, if you wish, you can add somebody as a friend, and you can share on Facebook and Twitter, etc. as for everything else. Turmai, we have various groups. Ars Poetica, for example, that's got to do with poetry, and people write poems, and people write little comments about the poems, etc. So if you want to write poetry or talk about poetry, this is the place. The Academia is not yet set up. That's something that we are working on. In the administration page, just going to show you a bit behind the scenes on Schola, how it was done. Schola exists because of an ability to change the language file. And what you are able to do on here, and this is, you have the actual website here, and on the right hand side, as you can see, we have the ability to translate it into Latin. It's not as straightforward as it might appear. It requires quite a lot of creativity because of the problem, of course, of cases. These automatic insertions of words are not declinable, and so it requires quite a lot of hard work to think about ways of rewriting the Latin so that it is grammatical. And that is the language file. Most of this work was done by John Doublier, who unfortunately has suffered a stroke and isn't able to work on the project anymore. And that pretty much is the site itself. Off Schola are some linked websites. The main one, which you might be familiar with, is the Latinum podcast, which came first. Schola was then set up as a place where people who were coming to Latinum and were interested in Latin as a living language or as a language to write in, to give them somewhere to meet and talk. And Latinum, as you can see, has a mirror of the scriptorium from Schola, and an invitation to join Schola, and various language courses. There's the enormous Adler course, which is the first one I made, followed by Underwood's Latin course. This is a complete Latin course with a textbook on Google Books. And the Deuge Latin course, once again, a complete audio Latin course with a online PDF textbook. And the Caesar course, which is also a complete Latin course from the ground up using Low. That starts from the beginning, giving all the declensions, etc., but using Julius Caesar's text to work through to learn Latin. And then we have the Comenius course, which is of particular interest to those of us who are interested in trying to write and read in Latin, as this was a course that was written at a time when it was expected that students would be able to have a working knowledge of the language. On the website we have a link to the map that shows us where everyone is that's popping in to look at Latinum, and it gives you an indication of where in the world there's interest in Latin, and it's pretty much everywhere. Another thing I want to point out to you that's linked into Schola and Latinum are the Tar Heel books. This is a website that's at the University of Oklahoma. It was discovered by Laura Gibbs, and she got permission to start writing basic books in Latin. It's a literacy website, and if you click on Latin down here, there are now over 400 texts, some of them written by teachers, some of them are linked into various Latin courses. For example, this one here by Keith Toda, Quoquus in Culina, and as you can see, we have a little delightful book, Quoquus est in Culina, Quoquit, and so on, Quoquus est optimus, and so on and so on. There are a large number of delightful children's books, and Tar Heel Reader represents something that's pretty new in the world of Latin teaching and Latin learning. And I think that pretty much sums up everything that we have on Schola at the moment. Feel free to join, muck around, try write. The one thing about Schola is that it's about trying to communicate. That's the primary goal. If you ask for help with your grammar, you will get it. But the goal is to actually speak and write Latin and be understood. And that's why we have this rule, no correcting unless you ask for help. Because what we don't want is to have people shut down their conversations out of fear of being corrected. But there are plenty of people on the website who are very good Latinists who will be able to help you if you have questions. Finally, one last link is Johannes Alatius's webpage of links to places online where you can hear Latin spoken in the restored classical pronunciation. And one final link, the Bibliotheca Philologica, which has got 35,700 digital textbooks, or texts rather, and this number keeps growing all the time. It's more than doubled in the last couple of years, of scans of Latin texts written during the Renaissance and later. So there's an enormous amount of stuff, enough to keep you going for several lifetimes once your Latin gets up to reading speed. And that is Schola and its associated websites. Vale.